Students of Reddit, what was the biggest teacher meltdown you ever witnessed? 1. Junior year in university. My genetics professor was in the middle of a lecture when authorities took him out of the auditorium, thank goodness, and informed him that his wife, the dean of our college, had been struck by a motor vehicle that morning. He retreated to his office and proceeded to tear the place apart like a tornado had gone through it. He ripped the top of his desk off its frame, pulled down all of his bookcases, books, pages, papers, all sorts of documents, and furniture strewn everywhere in pieces. By the time I graduated, he still wasn't the same man as he was before that awful day. 2. Year 9 maths class. Our teacher was off sick, and an early 20 substitute teacher came in to cover. She was lovely, kind, friendly, although a bit timid and shy. One girl in our class used a fountain pen to flick ink on a skirt she was wearing one day. Poor woman noticed her do it, didn't say a word, and just went to her desk, put her head in her hands, and sobbed. Didn't move for at least 10 minutes. Eventually, a friend of mine goes to get another teacher. The sub was escorted out, still crying, and was seen for the rest of the day just crying in her car. Didn't move for another 4 or so hours. 3. I had a Spanish teacher in middle school who was so tired of us turning in broken Spanish on our homework assignments that she screamed at us, called us stupid Americans, before throwing pieces of chalk at us one after the other. Another time, she got on her knees and started praying the rosary in front of us when a girl said el pollo nugget. 4. Maybe not a meltdown per se, but I had a chemistry class that was held in a huge auditorium with really steep stairs. The professor always walked all around the room while we took quizzes and tests. One day, he tripped halfway up the auditorium stairs and took a hard fall. He landed face down on her depart from bruises on the floor. And before we could really react, he starts banging his fists on the floor and screaming, "Entropy, entropy, entropy." 5. In primary school, some kids were misbehaving, and she broke down into tears, started screaming, and threw a chair. We never saw her again. 6. We had an art teacher in year 7 who would lock himself in the supply cupboards and scream and rip his hair out. It was unsettling. 7. Had a sub in 5th grade. I was a really unorganized kid, and having to dig through my desk for things wasn't uncommon. Sub went to collect our homework one by one, and I was still digging through, pulling a bunch of stuff out when she got to me. She got all towering and told me this was unacceptable. Dumped my desk in front of me and told me I was staying in from recess to organize it. One girl said, "You can't make him do that." And the sub raised her voice and spit out, "You don't tell me what to do, brat. I can do whatever I want." The whole class revolted, and a neighboring teacher came in to see what was up. The sub claimed I was being lippy, and this was my punishment. Then the whole class spoke up and informed him of what really happened, and we were all let out for recess. Came back in, and a lunch lady was sitting at the teacher's desk instead. 8. My super dorky history teacher in 8th grade was the nicest teacher I've ever met, but there were a couple of class clowns in our class, and he usually dealt with them. Okay, one day though, they were obnoxious the entire class from the moment he walked in, and he snapped, yelling and chucking his stapler across the room. It stapled right into Ben Franklin's forehead. He immediately apologized and went about his day normally, while all the students went silent. Nobody ever bothered him again after that day. 9. She threw a chair across the room, slammed her hands down on the desk, and screamed at a kid in 3rd grade.